Alessandro, I got two numbers for you. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
4.66, 4.33. These are the scores that these two beers got in a very in-depth series of beer bracket beer reviews, and today we're pitting them against each other. This is a versus battle that we've wanted to do very, very, very long time. Two epic juggernauts of the beer world. Two epic Belgian beers. The classic Trappist triple, the Chimay White Cap, versus the devil in disguise, that is the Duvel Belgian strong blonde golden ale. Why are we comparing these two beers? Well, they are very similar but very different kind of at the same time, right? They're different styles. Trappist triple,
Exactly.
Belgian golden blonde. What would you tell people, man? Like, how are they different and how are they the same? Because they're not really different.
You couldn't have said it better. They're very similar,
I didn't think.
but they're
all over
also
the place
very
with that one.
different. To explain this, we have to go a little bit and look into the history of the two styles. Like, so the first one
Let's get into it.
style that was invented was the Trappist triple from Westmalle, and the idea was, like I said, a little bit of a reaction towards the becoming very popular Pilsner. So triples are brewed using Pilsner malt. And obviously, as we know, the Trappist triples have to be brewed in an abbey and have like strict regulation to be called Trappist and so on. But later on, Duvel was actually the first
To be kissed by a wizard.
strong blonde ales, which are very similar. Like if you look at the descriptors and a lot of the similarities on a lot of the books, like Mosher to be one of them, like he also like mentions like there's a lot of similarities on the Duvel of being a little bit leaner and cleaner in characteristics, but other than that, like technically they're two different styles, but they're actually very, very similar on paper. So it's going to be interesting.
So I love your factual, sort of very analytical analysis, but here's a different analysis for you. We have the wizard beer made by these monks that are living up there in the Chimay Abbey, very sort of ethereal in nature, very godlike in their form, going against the devil. So it's like God versus the devil, the divine heavenly beer brewers versus the secret devil in disguise, Duvel.
It's almost like Gandalf against the Balrog.
What is this new devilry?
That's how I see it.
It is. It's almost exactly like that, actually. It's funny you say that. It's good versus evil. This is the most epic beer bracket battle ever, man. Chimay beat out Duvel with its score in our reviews, 4.66 versus 4.33. Will it win out in a direct head-to-head battle? Let's find out. Let's do this, buddy. And this is a beer mystery we must solve.
Oh, we absolutely have to. There's no way around this.
Look at the head on the Chimay White. I forgot about this. We're saying how neither of us have had this beer since we reviewed it, so it's been a little while.
It's Father Theodore.
Father Theodore, right? Who found that famous Chimay yeast. Maybe he's the one that in the beer nether regions up in the beer void will be battling the devil today.
The head on the Duvel it's devilish.
It's crazy. I know, right? Both of them, but dude, we talk about it again. Like, obviously, they're different styles, but look at them side by side.
It's
you can
crazy.
see the difference in coloration right off the bat, right?
Oh yeah.
But look at the heads. All right, aroma cheers, my friend.
Aroma cheers.
Which one is coming out on top? Ooh.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, so the Chimay White aroma is just so strong. What do you think?
So they
Give me your
are
thoughts.
similar but different, very different. The Chimay has a little bit more of a floral and fruity character to it.
Definitely does. Yeah.
I've almost say wine-like, if you allow me that, like white wine-like.
I'll allow it.
It's more like flowery in a sense, like if
It's
that
definitely very winey.
makes sense. Well, the Duvel is a little bit more sharp and
God, I wanna
more
drink these beers so
pointy
bad.
in the character.
The aroma's always so tough.
Ooh, that's interesting. I think on this one here,
So
I
thirsty.
am gonna go with the devil.
You're going with the devil.
I'm going with the devil here on this one. It's very inviting.
Yeah, like you said, it's true. Like I like the wine comparison. It's very floral, very fruity, very malty. The Duvel is kind of like, just, it's malty. You get a little bit of the hops on there too. For me, the Duvel is not so much about the aroma. It's more about the taste and the finish. I'm going to give it to the Chimay. I think like that really strong malty floral aroma on the Chimay is really a bit more appealing to me on this day. I'm going with good over evil, my friend, for the first round. Well, we're tied at 1, but now you know what we get to do. We get to taste these delicious beers.
Yes.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
Enjoy. Let me know what you think. Ooh.
Oh, that's good.
That Chimay White, it's always like just like a kick in the palate.
It is.
Both these beers, so good. What a tough job we have, man. What a tough life.
Oh, this is tough. They're so complex, both of them.
Yeah,
very
both of them
delicious. I think on the palate, there's a few more differences that come out on the Chimay. That malt presence, together with a little bit of the hop bitterness and the floral character, really stands out more.
Definitely.
The Duvel, almost like I feel like the maltiness, I don't want to say it's gone, but it's way less compared to on the nose. You do get a lot of notes of that sharp character of the yeast. I don't know how else to say it. It's the devil. It's the devil. It's the devilish.
Inviting you in to take another sip. I loved that story, and please go back and watch our review on Duvel for a full background on this story and the history and the lore behind the devil beer. But I love that the story of the shoemaker. Was it a cobbler? I don't know. It was somebody. It was a tradesman sitting around a table with other dignitaries.
I think it is.
And talking about the beer. It'd be like, this beer is the devil. It's so smooth, and then you look at it and it turns out to be 8.5% alcohol, and it sneaks up on you when you're least expecting it.
Devilly delicious. But I think that on the taste, my friend, I am going to go with the Chimay. I'm choosing good here. I think the malt is stronger than the devilish invite. What do you think, my friend?
2-1 for Chimay. This is a real tough one because, like you said, they're both really strong, powerful, potent beers. I think they both really feature the hops. The Chimay, very, very malt. They're both very malty, but I think the uniqueness of the hops that are used in each of these beers is very, very present, which I love. And I think that's the best characteristic. The tastes are by far the best characteristics out of our 5 review elements for these beers for me. If I had to choose one as a one-off beer experience, I think I could do without the sort of heavy maltiness and heavy floral elements, the floral elements coming from these specific hops in the Chimay, and I would go with the Duvel. I think I'm going on the dark side. I think it's a little bit cleaner on the taste for me. It's a little bit more mellow. We're tied through 2, man. This battle of good and evil so far there's no end in sight. It's neck and neck. But now we get down to the mouthfeel. You know what you got to do for that? We got to do a little bit of a refresher here.
Let's do it. I almost feel a weight on my shoulders.
Let the good and evil flow.
It's. I don't know.
Let them flow. You can feel it coming out of the glasses. Father Theodore and the Belgian devil. Yeah, that's a crazy head you got on that one there.
Look at that.
That's amazing.
I had to stop it. It was trying to escape.
The evil was just overflowing out of the glass.
The devil is not happy about my rating.
Oh, he's not happy about the rating so far. Okay, mouthfeel, buddy. Let me know. What do you think?
Cheers.
This is another one where they're so similar. Oh, this is hard.
Ooh, that's tough.
Can you feel the pull?
I don't know. I feel like there's presences it's tearing me apart. It's terrible. Let's start with what they have in common. Their carbonation level is very high on both.
Yeah.
It lightens up the body of the beer. Again, we're talking 8% and 8.5%. So 2 beers that have a strong alcohol presence, but they don't feel like it. They're very, very light in body. Type of carbonation, the bubbles is extremely fine, very, very nice. I think though that the devil wins this. I think the devil strikes again here because that extra fluffiness is really inviting for me. What do you think, my friend?
So you gave it to the devil.
The devil takes the point.
3-2 for Duvel. I think, like, if you compare the two beers next week, it's kind of crazy. I mean, from the slight difference in coloration, that's one thing, but then look at the fluffiness of the head on both, and you'll see again why we compare these two beers. And your heads have kind of died down a little bit, right?
Yeah,
I poured mine
it has
out a
a
little
little
bit
bit.
after you did, but you see that, like, that thick, fluffy mound, the clouds. It's almost like it does really represent the clouds, kind of, right?
It does.
Good versus evil on both sides of the clouds here. The Chimay White's a little bit heavier in mouthfeel, I find, a little bit denser. Almost like a little bit creamier. And the Duvel has like a little bit more of like a tingly sensation on your mouth and your tongue as you're taking sips. I find that the Chimay White, there's a little bit of like, we talk about oiliness as being a negative thing sometimes, but I think there's a little bit of an oiliness on the Chimay that sticks around. It kind of coats your mouth a little bit, and it tires my palate out a little bit. Whereas that doesn't happen with the Duvel, and I like the additional little sharpness and bitterness kick that it has on the mouthfeel as well. So I'm going to go with the Devil, man. I'm giving another point to Duvel. It's up 4-2 at this point, and we get into the finish. What do you think? Which one is taking it?
Deliciousness. It's interesting how the maltiness of the Chimay like really lingers through the whole experience, like both on the nose, like on the palate way more, and then like you mentioned, like a little bit more heavy on the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
On the finish, I feel like that maltiness is kind of like still present, but there's more of that like fruit characters that starts like showcasing it. It evolves like over the experience. Light floral notes that start like kind of disappearing and then like going more in the distance, like to use a beer bracket term. Slight like ripe fruit. I would say like white grapes, like really, like that's the kind of like the descriptor that keeps popping in my mind.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I really like that character on it. Like on the Duvel, on the other hand, like it's a little bit more sharp, more clean, which I think like helps to the drinkability. But I think for me, in this case, Chimay wins the point because that like extra richness in the finish that lingers like makes it very inviting for me. What do you think, my friend?
Chimay's fighting back. 4-3. I think you hit the nail on the head. The Duvel finish. It's all hops. It's clean. It's crisp. A little like sour bitterness there, which is nice. It's very fitting for the flavor profile of this beer. But the Chimay has like a little bit of sweetness, a little bit of breadiness, almost like a little bit of crackeriness there on the finish too. It's really interesting combined with like that really floral element of Father Theodore's hops. I think I'm going to give it to the Chimay too. I think that finish is a little bit more interesting for me. Man, so we're tied at 4 through 4 categories.
The wizard is coming back.
And so it comes down to the overall beer experience, where all the intangibles come into play. Between the Chimay Whitecap and the Duvel, which one is a superior beer experience for you?
This is going to be probably one of the toughest questions we've been asked because we're within.
And we're going to have to both agree to get a winner out of this too.
Yeah, I think that for me, the element that brings them apart as an overall experience is the binding element, as I call it. And to me, the binding element that wins here is the breadiness of the Chimay. And I just love that it's there throughout the whole experience. I love the lightness of the Duvel, but I feel like that, not lack, but like presence, a more simple presence of the malt. When you compare them back to back, it's a little bit more evident. I think the Chimay is the way I'm going. What about you, my friend? What side do you choose?
What side do I go on between good and evil? Yeah, let's take one final sip here before rendering my verdict. This is a lot of pressure on my shoulders right now. I can feel the heavens opening, and also the fiery hells opening as well, and both powers coming through and pulling me in each direction.
You're fighting over the bridge like with the Balrog.
Yeah. Very similar beer experiences from beginning to end, but there's one sort of deciding factor that's going to break it for me, and that is the finish of the Duvel. That kind of extra sort of like sour, really bitter finish takes it down slightly a notch as compared to the Chimay for me, so I'm going to have to give the point for the overall beer experience to Father Theodore and the Chimay monks. Good wins over evil, my friend, in this beer bracket battle.
Show yourself!
Thank God it did, because God knows what would have happened if evil won out and the devil won out in this battle. But good is coming out on top.
Yeah, and see, no matter what, don't forget to close your beer brackets.
Don't forget to close them. Open with a Chimay. Close with a Duvel. Can't go wrong. Let us know down below, everybody. What do you think? If you've had both these beers, which one do you find preferable? If there's any other versus battles you'd like to see, let us know down below. By this point, you would have seen our Battle of the Box already, which came as a request from one of our subscribers. So let us know down below what you want to see, and we might just get to it and give you a shout out at the same time. Cheers, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.